Disclaimer: the following part contains a significant amount of violence, which many of you may find uncomfortable to read, so proceed at your own risk. Also, the writer will not pay any attention to the bashing. There was a brief eye contact between the two. Somewhere, both of them wanted Lily, but Elena truly loved her, while Faze was consumed by lust and ego. Elena's eyes were screaming many emotions at the same time, from anger to pain, from revenge to ruthlessness. Even she didn't know what she was going to do to him. Faze, on the other hand, was no less. At the very first sight, he was slightly startled, but he wanted Lily at any cost. Faze looked into Elena's eyes and smirked. We had thought we'd take our Lily away calmly, without harming anyone. But it seems your death is written by my own hands. I promise I won't give you too much pain. After all, you took such good care of our Lily. He stepped his left leg back and raised his right hand, the one holding the knife. Pointing it in Elena's direction, he lunged at her like a hungry lion. The knife was an inch away from Elena's left eye when she reflexively grabbed Faze's wrist. She clenched it tightly, causing the knife to fall to the ground. For a second, she looked into his eyes. One look was enough for Faze to realize that what he had planned was not going to be easy. Before he could understand or do anything, he received a hard punch across his lips and tasted blood. His eyes turned bloodshot red as he looked at Elena, as if he wouldn't spare her today. In complete rage, he ran toward her and was about to attack when Elena grabbed his collar and smashed his forehead against the wall. He fell to the ground holding his head. Before he could recover, Elena grabbed him by his hair and slammed his head onto a nearby table. The table had a glass finish, which shattered, scattering glass everywhere and piercing Faze's skin as well. "Ah!" he cried in pain as blood dripped down from his forehead, but this was only the beginning of his end. Elena was not going to leave him so easily. Faze crawled on his hands and knees, trying to escape from the grip of the evil queen, but the dog was once again caught in the lion's hold. She mercilessly pushed him toward the bed where Lily was lying. He fell near the edge of the bed, and his hands, drenched in blood, landed on Lily's feet. Watching the scene, Elena smirked and began moving toward Faze. Faze looked at Elena and crawled toward her. Before she could do anything, he fell at her feet and folded his hands in front of her. "Please, please spare me. I made a mistake. I admit it, I committed a huge sin. But please, please spare me." His pitiful voice suddenly turned demonic, and before Elena could understand anything, he pulled out a sharp metallic card from his pocket and slashed at Elena's knee. Her lower clothing tore and fresh blood appeared. Elena reflexively grabbed her knee when suddenly Faze shoved her, making her fall to the ground. Before she could get up, Faze punched her, and blood started flowing from her nose, while a demonic smile crossed his face. "Today, in your own house, just watch how I kill you, Elena Armstrong," Faze said, and punched her in the stomach again. This time, blood came out of Elena's mouth. If Elena wanted, she could have finished Faze in a second. With just one command, his body would have turned into a house of bullets, but she wanted to end him with her own hands. Faze was about to hit Elena again when she caught his hand midair and kicked him hard in the stomach. He was on his feet, but the force pushed him out of the room. He looked around and spotted a glass rod placed in the corner. He picked it up, ready to attack Elena at any moment. Meanwhile, Elena walked outside with her full attitude and fierce eyes. Suddenly, Faze struck the rod against her back. The glass shattered into pieces, but Elena showed no expression on her face at all. Faze was still holding the broken end of the rod and looked at Elena in fear. Before he could understand anything, he felt an intense, unbearable pain in his stomach, and the next moment he found himself in the air. Elena kicked him with such force that he was dragged toward the railing and fell from the first floor down to the ground floor. As he fell, his deck of cards scattered into the air. "Ah!" he groaned in pain. It felt as if his bones were fractured or broken. He couldn't even move when Elena came and stood beside him. She placed her foot on his palm and pressed it down brutally with all her strength. Grinding her teeth, she muttered, "I had warned you to keep your eyes lowered here, but you didn't listen. You looked my Lily with filthy eyes. You touched my Lily. If everything had ended there, we might still have spared you. But you tried to form an illicit relationship with her, And not just that, you even dared to take her away with you. Such arrogance, such pride you have within you. Today, I will teach you what arrogance and pride truly mean. The eyes with which you looked at Lily. Today, those eyes will have to close forever, forever. Today, I will make you witness hell right here on earth. Saying this, she grabbed him by the collar and dragged him toward the living room. As she dragged him, she continuously smashed his head against whatever came in her way. By then, Faye's entire face was covered in blood. He tried his best to speak, but his condition was so terrible that he couldn't even cry or scream. Elena's staff and the gang members present there were stunned. They had never seen her this angry before. Her rage had reached its peak today. No one dared to stop her, because they knew that if they interfered, their heads would be severed the very next moment. She dragged him near a huge wooden table, and before anyone could react, she threw him mercilessly and violently onto it, causing the table to break apart. Since the table was large, its broken pieces scattered all around Faye's body as he lay trapped among them. Elena made eye contact with Faye and said in a rage, "Pride is nothing but a hollow shadow. A lie you tell yourself to feel powerful. You thought desire was love. Because your ego blinded you. You confused hunger with devotion, control with affection. Today, I will teach you what love truly is. Love is not flesh. Love is not possession. Love does not need permission, rules, or fear. Love is purity in its rawest form. A force so powerful that even the strongest kneel before it. Love is the beginning. Love has no end. Love is the courage that stands unshaken, even when death reaches for it. You mistook the body for love. You wrapped yourself in arrogance and called it strength. But you forgot one thing. There is nothing higher than love. Nothing more dangerous than love betrayed. You will not defeat me. You will not escape this. By the truth of this love, you will fall. Right here. Into the ground you stand on." After hearing Elena's words, Faye began to tremble. He knew his end was close. Elena picked up several bottles of alcohol and emptied them over the shattered wooden table, soaking the broken pieces and the floor around him. The sharp smell filled the air. She pulled a lighter from her pocket and flicked it on. Tears slipped from her eyes as the thought struck her. If she hadn't arrived in time, what he would have done to Lily. Hatred burned deeper than the flame in her hand. Faye screamed, "No, no, no." But Elena didn't stop. She threw the lighter onto the soaked wreckage. The fire erupted instantly. As the flames climbed higher, Faye's screams grew louder, raw, desperate, unbearable, until he was consumed by the most painful and merciless punishment imaginable. Elena turned away and walked back to Lily's bedroom, leaving everyone behind in stunned silence. That night, she left an example carved in fire of how much Lily meant to her, and how far she was willing to go for the one she loved. Elena stood beside Lily's sleeping form, tears streaming silently down her face. "Forgive me, Lily," she whispered brokenly. "There's no one else to blame. The fault is mine, mine alone. I couldn't even keep you safe. Today I feel nothing but shame for myself." As the words left her lips, her strength finally gave out. She sank to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. Every ounce of energy drained from her body, leaving her hollow and exhausted. Eventually, her cries faded into silence. Resting her head against the edge of the bed, Elena slipped into an uneasy sleep, still kneeling beside the one she loved.